Shot 2013 at the Boberg Arms Corporation booth. Talking to Arnie Boberg. How you doing, sir?
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Very nice to meet you. Been reading a lot about your pistol designs. Been highly interested in it for some time now. They're a little on the difficult side to obtain for obvious reasons. And before we go into the actual pieces that you have here at SHOT 2013, I'd like to just ask you a little bit about what got you interested in firearms, a little bit about your background. In other words, are you an engineer or are you a farm guy who decided, look, I'd like to make something? So with that as an example, tell me about yourself. How did you get started?
I'm a mechanical engineer. I worked at a major corporation. I specialize in machine design. But as a child, I designed multiple handguns. Not a lot of kids built handguns back then. But
well, other than rubber band guns, maybe.
Yes, and I could bring them to school and show off my workmanship, but you can't do that nowadays.
Right. Now, we're talking actual firearms.
Actual firearms that I made. You usually use a shotgun shell primer and a BB.
Right.
Using air rifle barrels and stuff. So I had a lot of fun with firearms.
What did you call them back then?
I call them primer guns.
The primer guns?
Yes,
okay, good
exactly.
deal.
So
do you still have any of them floating around the shop?
I still have them, and they're going into a Boberg Arms Story book at some point, a coffee table book, and there'll be pictures of all the firearms I developed when I was a kid.
Beautiful.
So it's a lot of weird eye candy going on there.
Yeah.
But
so what age did you get more interested in, kind of more developing?
In the corporate world, I got underneath a boss that really wasn't very nice to me, and I was kind of running my course in my corporate career. I've had a lot of major challenges. I've got a lot of awards in engineering, and this boss wasn't very nice, so I decided I need to do something else with my life. And so I looked at firearms. I thought, I know guns. I don't know medical products. I know guns because I did it when I was a kid. And I looked at what they were doing in the year 2003. They were taking guns, manufacturers, and they were chopping them off and calling them compact guns.
They were cutting them down, shortening springs and all sorts of stuff like that. Sometimes they didn't work.
They didn't work, and it had reliability issues, and concealed carry was becoming more in vogue. More states were adopting concealed carry at the time, and I thought to myself, what can I do to improve firearms technology and keep the ballistic energy up, but no compromise design? So I started working on a feed mechanism that would have the barrel placed over the magazine, and I felt that since I did high-speed mechanisms for a living, I could come up with something, whatever it took, to pull the round out of the magazine, lift it, and stuff it into the chamber from the back.
But keeping the design as compact as possible.
Exactly. And little did I realize it would take me several years to perfect this invention, because the slide accelerates with 2,000 Gs going backwards, and you're trying to control chaos. That's why the design was so difficult. It was by far the most difficult project I ever took on in my life.
And I just got to kid. I love how you describe the detonation of a cartridge as controlling chaos. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was wild. And it was attempted in the year 1900. I didn't know at the time. The cartridge would be pulled backwards in the Mars pistol.
The Mars.
And it never said it in the history books, but I'm convinced that Mr. Gabbett Fairfax got hit in the forehead with live rounds because the cartridge was already spinning when it came backwards.
Really?
It failed in military testing and the project was abandoned. So oftentimes my design is compared to that design, but this is quite different. This has been patented and it has perfected that rear feeding mechanism now over the years.
What time frame did you come up with this design?
In about year 2004, I'd actually built some prototypes in .32 automatic. And but then Rohrbach came out with their 9mm, and that changed because now you've got a small, compact, pocket-sized 9mm. I felt that I had to go to a bigger caliber.
Right.
And so I started.
And there is a demand for that. Rohrbach, great pistol. However, there is, on a personal level for me and for a number of other people, there is a demand for a larger caliber in as small, compact design as you can have.
And what a lot of people don't know is when you cut the barrel down to 2.9, 2.7 inches, you do lose significant amount of muzzle energy. And what I wanted to do is take a full-length barrel and squeeze it into something under 6 inches, which is considered pocket class. So my first design essentially was the XR9 Long, which I came out with in 2004. Now, this design is quite different from the one in 2004 because that was a gas delay blowback. Didn't work very well, too much acceleration. So I went to a rotating barrel lock breech after that.
Did you, in your design, did you have failures of the...
I had multiple failures. I had cartridges coming apart with the gas delay blowback. I decided to abandon it.
Okay.
So I decided I had to go with the rotating barrel lock breech, so back to the drawing board. I had to start over again. And
a little frustrating, but obviously with your background, you know that you need to do that.
Yep. And to build an entire gun from scratch costs around $15,000, and I couldn't do that every time. So I started building all the parts myself. No more machine shops building parts. And I built 7 more generations of guns until generation 10, which is the current generation, until I got it working.
Very quickly, were you working on these at home, in the garage? Did you have a shop?
This was all my weekends, holidays, vacation days, weeknights. All my spare time was spent in my shop, in the basement, in my mushroom cave, my man cave, so to speak.
Eating up a lot of personal time.
Eating up all my personal time. If I made one screw up on a slide that took me 40 hours to machine, I had to start over. And 40 hours of personal time is a lot of hours.
Tell me about it, brother.
Very, very difficult. So finally, after about 6 years, I got it working reasonably. 2008, we debuted at the SHOT Show. I shared a booth with somebody, showed off the XR9 Long, and we made our debut. Not a lot of attention at SHOT Show, but it got us enough attention to get a year of sales later on, so it was actually very good momentum.
Excellent.
But then someone posted an image of an XR9 Long chopped off, and Photoshop, and everybody thought we were offering that. It went kind of viral on all the gun forums. So then I felt obligated to reduce my design to something into a much shorter package. I spent another 6 months redesigning the gun so that it could be made shorter, because it could always be made longer afterwards.
Now, this issue you're talking about, this was just a photoshopped image. It was not a real pistol.
It was a friend of mine. It was kind of a prank.
Ah, beautiful. Don't those friends like that, don't you love them?
With friends like that, who needs enemas, my mother would say, with a Swedish accent.
Exactly, with a heavy Swedish accent.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Beautiful. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, not obviously you didn't appreciate the effort that you'd been putting into this this project.
Right, but I'm glad I did, because now we actually have a gun with a 3.35-inch barrel that duplicates the ballistics of a Glock 26, but with less felt recoil and with plus B plus capability.
Plus B plus.
Because you can shoot at point of aim with a rotating barrel lock breech, the barrel stays flat for over 1/4 of an inch, does not change its angle. Versus the Glock, the angle changes very shortly after percussion.
A little bit of a tilt.
Yep, it's got a little bit of a tilt. So this has got the longest lockup delay of any small gun on the market today. Yes. But since we had all our testing and man hours in the short gun, that had to be released to the market first.
And obviously these are dummy rounds. They're not live. You need to make a point of that sometimes.
Yes. Brownells makes these rounds.
Okay, very good.
That way.
May I go through the cycle?
You pull it back quickly.
Okay.
There you go. You got it?
Well, I'm trying to get it...
and you can turn it around to show how it feeds.
I'm trying to get it so that we have a... Stand by just one. You're good.
That's it.
Very good.
Takedown looks like this. Parts come out. Spring is designed, engineered to last the life of the gun. Rotating barrel lock breech. We feature also dual locking extractors. The extractor is locked closed by the barrel as it cams over it. And on the left side, there's a fixed extractor. So in other words, the cartridge case is locked absolutely tight. There is never a failure to extract the Boberg XR9 pistol.
Fantastic.
That's also in our patents.
That's in your patents, of course.
Yes.
I would imagine, especially with your background, you know to be very cautious about that.
Yep. There's a 6 o'clock position for a range hold open, and it can be closed with a trigger pull.
That's what I was going to ask about, is if there was any type of a hold open feature.
Yep. Yeah, we had the tag in the way, the SHOT Show tag, but the trigger pull closes it.
Very good.
Half the felt recoil of any other pocket-sized pistol. It's got the longest impulse delay due to the rotating barrel lock breech. The smallest gun in the world to have a rotating barrel lockup.
Now, do you have this in any other calibers?
We are looking at a 45. I don't know if this is going to be...
No, and this is nothing that is guaranteed, of course.
Oh, yeah.
This is just basically some design ideas that you have, correct?
Yeah, but this is 80% done. The 45 will be launched sometime next year. You can see the form factor of the 45 versus the XR9.
So we have pretty much what that imprint would be if they were side by side.
The 45 has been designed to handle 45 Super. It will be the most powerful pocket pistol available. It'll put out somewhere between 600 and 700 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. It'll also feature a new spring technology I've developed, so you'll have 6 plus 1 in the chamber. It'll also have about half the felt recoil of any other similar size 45, but there will be no other similar size 45 autos.
without any guarantee being made, of course, because you can't control that.
True.
What's a rough estimate of when availability would be for the XR45?
My employees say I need to finish it in 6 to 9 months. I know it's going to take longer. The gun itself is not the bottleneck. It's doing the whole production assembly line process. That's where the time is involved.
Right.
All the assembly fixtures, all the inspection fixtures, the QC plan, everything has to be duplicated in the form for this firearm.
So earliest